From global superstardom to a difficult chapter that shocked fans worldwide, Liam Payne's journey is a reminder that fame is never as perfect as it looks. Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're exploring the rise, struggles, and heartbreaking resilience of Liam Payne. While the world knew him as one-fifth of the biggest boy band on the planet, his story is much more complex than the polished images we saw in magazines. It is a story about a young man thrust into an environment of immense pressure, trying to navigate adulthood while the whole world watched his every move. We are going to explore how fame shaped Liam's personality, the heavy burden of being the responsible one, and the emotional toll that comes when the cheering stops. But before we begin, it is important to approach this topic with empathy. We are not here to judge or speculate, but to listen to what Liam himself shared over the years about his battle for balance. To understand the weight Liam carried, we have to go back to the very beginning, before the stadium tours and the screaming fans. Most people forget that Liam's journey to stardom was defined by rejection before it was defined by success. He first auditioned for the X Factor at just 14 years old, only to be sent home and told to come back when he was older. This initial setback instilled in him a relentless drive to prove himself, a quality that would later become both his greatest strength and his heaviest burden. When he finally returned and was placed into One Direction, he wasn't just happy to be there, he felt a deep responsibility to make it work. In various interviews, Liam described himself as the dad of the group, a role he took on to ensure the band remained professional and on track. But here's the surprising part. While this role kept the band together, it often required him to suppress his own youth and emotions. He was still a teenager, just like the others, yet he felt he had to be the anchor. This dynamic set the stage for an internal conflict that would grow silently for years. The explosion of One Direction was unlike anything the music industry had seen in decades, and the pressure was immediate and relentless. The band was releasing an album every year, touring globally, and fulfilling endless media obligations. In later years, Liam spoke candidly about this period, describing a sense of feeling trapped in hotel rooms and tour buses, unable to leave because of the crowds outside. He compared it to living in a goldfish bowl, where every action was observed and analyzed. Most fans don't know what happened behind the scenes, but Liam admitted that to cope with the boredom and anxiety of being confined, he turned to partying and drinking within the safety of the hotel. He described a pills and booze phase that the public was completely unaware of at the time because on stage, he still looked like the perfect pop star. This disconnect between his smiling public image and his internal struggle is a common theme in the lives of child stars. It highlights how the industry often prioritizes the product over the person. But this is where things took a difficult turn for Liam emotionally. As One Direction went on an indefinite hiatus in 2016, the structure that had governed his life for half a decade suddenly vanished. For most people, freedom is a gift, but for someone institutionalized by fame since adolescence, the sudden silence can be deafening. Liam was open about the difficulty of this transition, stating in interviews that he struggled to find his identity without the other four boys beside him. He wasn't just Liam Payne anymore, he was a solo artist trying to figure out who he was and what he sounded like. During this period, audiences saw him experiment with different sounds and styles, sometimes appearing confident, but other times appearing lost. Think about that for a moment. Imagine spending your formative years being told exactly where to go and what to sing, and then waking up one day with no schedule and the expectation to redefine yourself instantly. It was during the solo era that the public began to notice shifts in his demeanor, as the protective bubble of the band was no longer there to shield him from direct criticism. The media's scrutiny surrounding Liam's personal life became intense, particularly regarding his high-profile relationships and his role as a father. While he spoke lovingly about his son, Bear, the pressure of co-parenting in the public eye added another layer of stress. Media outlets frequently analyzed his interviews, often taking quotes out of context or framing his struggles as controversies. One specific moment that drew significant backlash was his appearance on a popular podcast, where he made comments about his former bandmates that upset many fans. However, looking back with empathy, many now view that interview not as an act of malice, but as a cry for help from someone who was hurting and feeling defensive. Liam himself later apologized, explaining that he was in a dark place and lashing out due to his own insecurities. This incident revealed the fragility of his mental state and how quickly the public tide could turn against someone they once adored. It serves as a stark reminder that celebrities are not immune to having bad days, but their bad days are broadcast to millions. And this next moment changed everything regarding how open he was willing to be. After facing backlash and realizing he needed to make a change, Liam took a step back from the spotlight to focus on his well-being. He posted a video to his YouTube channel discussing his time in a treatment facility, admitting that he had become someone he didn't recognize. This was a pivotal moment of vulnerability. He spoke about getting sober, reconnecting with his art, and trying to be a better father. It was a brave admission that resonated with many people who have faced their own battles with mental health and addiction. Liam seemed to be on a path of healing, painting, and making music again. He was trying to rebuild the trust he felt he had lost with his fan base. It's easy to forget that behind the fame was a young man trying to figure out who he was, stripping away the layers of the pop star persona to find the person underneath. However, the road to recovery is rarely a straight line, and the pressures of the industry never fully disappeared. Reports from those around him suggested that despite his efforts, the demons of anxiety and the fear of irrelevance continued to haunt him. The music industry is notoriously fickle, and for an artist who had touched the very top of the mountain, the fear of slipping down can be paralyzing. Liam continued to work, but fans noticed that his social media presence became erratic at times. He would post content that seemed to seek connection, appearing lonely and looking for validation from the online world. This is the part most people never consider. When the stadium lights go off, the silence is heavy. Liam often used social media as a way to reach out, to feel seen, and to bridge the gap between his isolated reality and the world outside. It was a digital cry for connection from a man who had everything, yet often felt he had nothing. The tragedy of his passing in Buenos Aires marked the end of a long and often silent battle. While the headlines focused on the shock of the event, the deeper story is one of a life lived under a microscope. Friends and former colleagues spoke out, not just about the star, but about the kind, funny, and often anxious soul they knew. The outpouring of grief from fans and fellow artists highlighted the impact he had, but it also sparked a conversation about the duty of care in the music industry. People began asking difficult questions: who looks after these young stars when the tour ends? Who checks on the responsible one when he stops being the responsible one? Liam's story forces us to confront the reality that fame is trauma. It is an abnormal human experience that requires immense support to navigate, support that is often lacking once an artist is no longer generating peak revenue. But this next chapter is where Liam's story becomes truly heartbreaking in retrospect. In the weeks and months leading up to the end, he was actively trying to reconnect with his past. He attended the concert of his former bandmate, Niall Horan, and was seen clapping and cheering, showing support for the brotherhood that defined his life. It was a glimpse of the Liam that fans loved, supportive, enthusiastic, and proud. Yet, beneath that surface, the internal struggle remained. It is a powerful reminder that we never truly know what someone is carrying. A person can be cheering in a crowd one moment and fighting a desperate internal battle the next. His journey illustrates the duality of the human experience, capable of great love and support for others, while simultaneously struggling to extend that same grace to oneself. As we reflect on his life, it is crucial to remember Liam not just for the way he died, or for the difficult headlines, but for the joy he brought to millions. He was a key part of a cultural phenomenon that defined a generation. He was a talented vocalist, a songwriter, and a father. His struggles were public, but his pain was personal. The tragic fall is not a judgment on his character, it is an observation of what happens when a human being is pushed beyond their limits without a safety net. His story serves as a somber lesson for the entertainment industry and for us as consumers of celebrity culture. It challenges us to be kinder, to be less judgmental of public figures, and to recognize the signs of someone who is drowning in plain sight. Closing the curiosity loop on his life, we see that Liam's fall wasn't about a failure of talent or a failure of heart. It was the result of a perfect storm of early fame, immense pressure, and the isolating nature of celebrity. He spent his entire adult life trying to live up to the expectations of the world, and in the end, the weight was simply too heavy. but his legacy remains in the music and in the memories of those who grew up with him. Liam Payne's story reminds us that behind every superstar is a human being carrying silent battles. And sometimes, the strongest thing we can do as an audience is to offer compassion rather than criticism. Thank you for joining me for this respectful look into the life of Liam Payne. If you appreciate thoughtful, responsible deep dives into the stories behind the headlines, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Take care of yourselves, and check on your friends. I'll see you in the next video.